All right, I believe we are live. Hey, you guys, the Ravens did it. They did it. They forced a punt.
Oh,
They
yay.
did it, you guys. We're getting everybody in. It is the Project Game Day post game show, and yeah, we started because there's nothing else to be said about this. We know the reality. The Ravens are going to be blown out in miserable fashion and are going to fall to 1-4 on the season. And there's not a whole lot else to say at this point, but we'll do our best to say it anyway. Project Game Day postgame show is brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER and helpmygamblingproblem.org. KZ, you were here first. I'll give you your first thoughts. Go ahead and get to the part that I know you want to get to.
I don't know. I found the whole game hubris. I don't understand the game plan on either side of the ball for a team that was as injured and down as many guys as you are. The the fact that you're down whatever the three and you come out in the second half and run Derrick Henry three straight times into a line that's being stacked when last week you couldn't put him on the field on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 in critical times. You're down 41-3, and good idea to give Derrick Henry another touch. I mean, I guess practice that third and short play. Why do it when it matters? And I thought the overall tenor of the guys that were on the field was just lackluster. The discipline is horrible. Pre-snap penalties. You get dominated on both sides of the line. I never thought I would see, even with them as injured as they are, the effort wane. And I didn't see effort today. I just didn't. And I hate to say it like that because I'm sure as a professional you're trying, but when Rita said what she said last week, they're not going to try. Why should I?
Okay, let's go to Rita next.
Um, I don't even want to say that I don't think that they didn't try in terms of like I felt like, I mean, you have undrafted free agents out there trying to make plays and like, guys like Keon Martin. Clearly Teddy Buchanan is not what you need at linebacker, particularly when you have a guy like Roquan out. I do think that missing so many guys that are starters, impactful starters, is going to put you in this position. And I also think that, the Texans got embarrassed on Christmas Day in front of Beyonce, and they wanted to get their get back. I'm not mad at that. I get it. You got embarrassed in front of Beyonce. So you said you want to embarrass us. It doesn't have the same effect because, one, Lamar didn't play. A lot of people didn't play. Two, it's a 1 o'clock game, so there's a whole bunch of other games on. But I get it. It was probably personal for them. And then also it was personal for them in the sense of not necessarily for the Ravens, but personal in the sense of like them getting back on track as an offense. And this was the week to do that because of the injuries. The conversation, I know we're going to sit here and talk about coaching and all of these things, but I think that the conversation now has to start. We have to start talking about the construct of this football team. And for the most part, I think that Eric DeCosta has done a good job. But then when you start looking at the people that are behind the starters, some of these people are not football players. I mean, I don't mean it like to be disrespectful. I want to be clear. Like, I get it. They made their way onto the roster. But, I mean, we've been talking about not having a pass rush with starters. You know what I'm saying? We've been talking about the issues in the with the defense with starters. And then you have these guys that shout out to them for working hard and making a team, but nobody feels threatened by any of these guys. So you add that to the fact of offensive line continues to be a master, not getting any push up front. And Cooper Rush, while I know what he did at Dallas, in the preseason, he kind of showed us where he was at, which a lot of people wasn't happy about that. So we got to start talking, in addition to coaching, we have to start talking about the construct of this team. When Lamar's not playing, when Kyle Hamilton's not playing, even when Roquan struggles, with his struggles, when he's not playing, this is what this team looks like. And so maybe it's not just coaching. Maybe it's a combination of a lot of things that are not going well for the Ravens right now. But I mean, I thought that they would not give up that many points, but that's on me. That's on me. What gave me a reason to believe that they wouldn't? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So because the talent just isn't there from a defensive coordinator's position where they've given up all of these points. It wasn't there. So that's on me. The good thing is that I don't feel no way about it.
You made it very clear. You made it very clear. She's good. Let me go to Tyus, because Tyus, I'll present it in the context of what Reeta just said. And of course, Spot Track described it this way: given the 7 guys who were not active today, and then this number actually grows if you include Nnamdi Madubuike, the Ravens deactivated $96.6 million worth of their 2025 salary cap for their Week 5 matchup against the Texans, nearly 35% of their adjusted salary cap this season. Is that sort of the end-all, be-all? Can you overcome that? Or is that the reality of the NFL that, like, if you're missing these guys, you're just going to get this. This is what you're going to get.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you talk about, what they say, 20 total Pro Bowl selections within the people that's out today. I mean, what else you expect? I mean, based off of the performance today, this looks like preseason game 1, and you just trying to figure out your pieces and who's going to be your guys. And honestly, that's what it's looked like this entire game, where like all 3 phases just haven't found a groove at all. I mean, defense is getting pushed back, front line. I mean, misdirection, guys is not where they supposed to be. Looking in the backfield, guys is wide open for easy passes. Offense, of course, no rush game. Pass game is tough. Missing passes for interceptions. Guys is cutting short their their routes and getting interceptions. I mean, overall, it just looked bad, and that's definitely going to be something that needs to be talked about as far as the effort, as far as the want-to, the pride
I
of
think
this
that,
team.
Tyus, what you're referring to is, I think, what a lot of us are struggling with, right? Is what is the line? Because we've all pointed out, like, they didn't look good defensively in Week 1, and that's before even Nnamdi Madubuike was hurt.
Yeah.
But what is the line between, like, this is about the injuries versus no? I use that internet meme that everybody likes, the guy holding the sign that says our expectations were low, but holy F, right? Like,
Yeah.
what Ken brought up is, like, somehow it seems like it's even worse than that. Is this, like, even worse than just how bad we thought it was going to be?
Yeah, absolutely, because we was going into last week thinking that, we're going to try to turn around, try to make a better effort from last week to try to get a win against the Texans, especially how they've been playing through the past few weeks. And Texans look like the best team in NFL right now. I mean, what they say, he's going 85% passing, only missed 3 passes the whole game, 4 touchdowns. Everybody's locked in, offense and defense. I mean, it was a good day for the Texans, and it was the worst possible day that you could ask for the Ravens. So, I mean, honestly, I don't know where the line is when it comes to that, but somebody needs to figure it out. And I can't answer that for you. Hopefully somebody can, but I have no idea.
Can I just say this, though? Can I
Mhm.
just say this? Did we all watch Thursday night? Did we all watch football? Because I watch a lot of football.
Yes.
Okay. Did we watch Thursday night?
Mm-hmm. Look, I
They're
know
missing.
you're going to bring up. I know.
They
but
are missing their
yes,
all-pro
Bosa and
defensive
Purdy.
end.
Yeah,
Their
that's
quarterback, both starting wide receivers, and it
Mhm.
didn't look like that.
right. But
So
you
I'm
can.
trying to be nice about it and give them a little bit of a pass because of all
Yeah.
the guys that are injured. But it did. Everybody's injured. Everybody's injuries. So I don't want to use it as a crutch.
Not like this, and not even the
So
49ers.
you're not wrong, but they were already not good on defense.
Well,
So
that's-
that's what
I don't know what you
I
expect.
understand. You're right. You're right. They weren't good on defense already, but they weren't. It's like they didn't even game plan for people not being there. I don't know anything about football. Okay, I came into this game.
We could have just stopped there.
Right? No.
We could have just ended.
My highlight was on the flag football field. I drew little stick men in the dirt. 25 years ago or 30 years ago. My brain couldn't comprehend today what I was seeing from their game plan.
I think you're obsessed with the game plan. I don't think
No, because it was stupid.
But
I'm sorry.
What do you think they were going to do, Ken?
I thought
at,
on the
Glenn. That's where I'm
offensive,
at.
I'll tell you very simple. On the offensive end, I know that if I'm going up against a backup quarterback, and I got Derrick Henry on that other side. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put 9 guys in a box and say, "You're not doing that," and make the quarterback beat me. Okay. So could we spread everybody out? Could we put all of our skill people on the field?
What did you see about the offensive line and Cooper Rush that made you think that they were going to do anything differently?
I'm sorry. I disagree with you. You could have spread them out. Use your speed. Look, quick little slants, quick little dump offs.
I do agree with that.
Instead, you tried to have your offensive line, who we all know has not been able to block worth a lick, and is hurt down their top offensive lineman. We decided this is the good day that we're just going to run straight ahead with Derrick Henry when we don't have Lamar Jackson there. I'm sorry. The game plan was stupid.
You don't have to keep
on the defensive side. No, you all are being too nice to this team.
No, I'm not being.
On
no,
the
stop,
defensive,
stop.
on the defensive
You're doing a different
side,
thing. You want it to be about the play calling. God bless you. Their defense couldn't stop you and I today.
Okay,
there's
but
no
on the
world where you're going to convince
any other day.
So you
what
had
y'all
to
be
score
talking about?
points.
What y'all be talking
you
about?
had
Any
to
other
score
day.
points. You had to score points. You weren't going to stop anybody. You can't stop anybody when everybody's healthy. So on the defensive side, we're down all these guys. So what do? Nothing. You can't have a pass rush when they're all healthy. I would have blitzed every down. Every down, I would have blitzed somebody, and I would have played zone behind it.
Well, to be fair, they did, and they did get back there. So, okay, they did.
Terrible.
Though, KZ.
Terrible.
They did.
Come
they
on,
did
Rita.
blitz.
You know I'm right. Come on, Rita.
You're not right. You have a grander
here's
point.
The thing, KZ. I didn't know you was gonna be so fired up about this. I mean, we
so
really just
bizarre.
I just didn't know. They did bring guys back there, and a couple of penalties negated them getting back to CJ Stroud, but they did. They stopped them a couple times. They sacked them a couple times. So, but they're just not good. Just generally, week to week, they're just not good. I do agree with you on the offensive side of the ball, though. I said the same thing. If you're going to put 9 people in a box, and I'm not asking Cooper Rush to do a whole lot, I just don't know. If you're going to have, guys on one-on-one coverage, then do what you got. Get the ball out quick. Try to spread them out a little bit, and then run the ball to try to help your offensive line. I just don't know why I didn't see more of that. But also, I just don't know what they got going on. I don't know how Todd Monken has just completely missed the memos when it comes to certain things. I'm not an offensive coordinator. I don't think football is that hard, but I don't think that Todd Monken is a bad coordinator. I think too many times these guys psych themselves out to think that it's going to go one way because I said it's going to go this way, and then it doesn't. When you just don't make it simple for the guys that are back there, and I think to me that's the problem. And that's where it goes with.
I feel like I'm living in a crazy world where we're just saying, and not you, Rita, I'm going back to KZ. I feel like we're just saying things because we want to say them. They actually put a drive together immediately after they give up a touchdown, and things were going well. Now, if you want to debate whether or not, to me, they should have gone for it on 4th down inside the 10-yard line, just because what game did you think you were playing today? That, to me, is a legitimate conversation. Now, would it have made a difference?
I agree with that.
Almost certainly not, right? In the end,
they
were going to get their asses kicked. But they were moving the ball well. If you want to point out something, the penalties, to me, a major part of the story. What Cooper Rush was thinking, dancing around. If you really want to do this for the sake of doing it, we can do that. Cooper Rush running around like he's Lamar Jackson, running into a 12-yard loss on a sack. We can have a conversation about that. But
What do you
what are
want
we
to do?
talking about?
What are you running to do? He's running for his life.
Right, but he can't do that. Yeah, Cooper
So you're
Rush.
saying he should have threw the ball
He was
away?
wanting to
Yes.
fall down.
Throw the ball
I want
away.
him to
He's
fall
saying throw the ball
down.
away.
Cooper
again,
Rush
takes me
cannot
back
get
to
out of that.
Which takes me back to the
Well,
construct of this
you could be
offense.
like the rest of the fans today who want Snoop back behind center now.
No, you're not listening. I'm saying on that you want to debate a specific play. Cooper Rush can't run 12 yards backwards.
I didn't debate a specific play. I debated the entire game plan.
The game plan today was they were going to get their ass kicked because they weren't good enough. They weren't good enough.
I assure you,
they were going to get their ass kicked.
If that was the game plan, then you'd better have none of them come back next week because the Rams are coming into town and they're pissed off.
And what do you think they're going to do? Probably hang 60. Probably.
As long as Puka has 3 touchdowns, I'm good.
Right?
You thought CJ Stroud was balling. Okay.
Puka about to put up 250 on us. Puka about to put 250 on him.
You thought this was bad.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Puka putting 250 and Devontae Adams is putting up 113.
I ain't gonna be mad about it because I got him on my fantasy team, but that's besides the point.
Oh, come on.
That's besides the point.
Lord.
It just boggled my mind that this is what they put out there.
I just don't know what you think was going to happen based on what you actually saw occur.
I wanted them to have a better plan to because we all know that was going to happen. I just felt like
I think their only hope of winning today was if they were able to establish Derrick Henry early and wear down the defense.
And so you're not wrong, but again, everybody knew what the game plan was.
I understand, but
so
I'm telling
Rita,
I know what you're saying. I'm saying if that didn't work, I think you were F no matter what. I don't think there was.
But try. Okay.
I'm
so you don't try. So you don't try. Don't try. So when you're down 40-3, let's run Henry one more time into the line.
You're obsessed with that.
I just think at the end of the day, like you, aside from Derrick Henry, you still have good offensive weapons on that team. So I really would have liked to have seen them. I don't know. Maybe
well, to be fair, on the first drive, they spread the ball out. They had like 4 different pass catchers on the first drive of the game. They spread the ball around.
Yeah, sure.
They did.
And then after that,
they were bleeding out. Like they never had a moment to breathe, and then they turned the ball.
So we knew that they weren't going to win a shootout. Okay, we get that part. I just do think that like whatever plan they had offensively, it just felt like you played into the hands of what the Texans knew that you were going to do, which I do have a problem with stuff like that. I got a problem with you. I want Derrick Henry to run the ball more than anybody. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that, like, if you're calling 2 plays in the huddle, I want you, and you see that there's 9 people in the box, then what's the other fucking call, dog?
I'm going back to this to see if maybe I'm telling you and looking at the plays, that's absolutely not what happened. Like, they fell behind.
We know that they fell behind.
No. But listen, they put together a very good-looking first drive where they spread the ball around. Then they get the ball back down 10-3. They only gave the ball to Derrick Henry once on that drive. And then they get the ball back down 17-3, and it's the exact same thing. They give the ball to Keaton Mitchell. They're not giving the ball to – it's almost the exact opposite, Ken, of what you're describing, which is ironic because, like, I kind of felt the same thing, but I'm actually looking at the plays, and that didn't happen. They did the exact opposite of what you're describing, and then all of a sudden they're down 17-3 when they get the ball back, and they don't have the option to because it's 30 seconds left at the end of the half, and they're down 24-3. So
they come out the second half.
But they were down 24-3. That's what you're judging this by.
Tell me what the plays call coming out the second half.
The first play was a short pass to Zaire Mitchell-Payton. The next play was a short pass to Zay Flowers. The third play, in fact, they didn't give the ball to Derrick Henry at all. At all. Like,
so they're down 40-3.
This is actually a bizarro world where, like, what you're saying, and I know because I saw that you're overreacting to is the drive where they gave the ball to Derrick Henry 3 times. And I get it. We all laughed about it. But the truth is that is not what they did today at all. Like, even a little bit. We can do this forever and, like, look over the game plan and say the game plan. They got their ass kicked. They just got their ass kicked. Like, period. They got their ass kicked.
The problem is that's 2 weeks in a row, and then we're sitting here making jokes about next week potentially. It's potentially 3 ass kickings in a row, and that's problematic for everybody.
I would go as far
involved.
as to say likely 3 ass kickings.
Okay, I'm just making a point because it didn't happen yet, right? But I mean,
I think
we all envision it potential. We all envision it happening, right? So now we're talking about 3 consecutive ass kickings going into the bye week. We sitting here saying, "Oh, when Lamar comes back, this," but like Lamar can't. He ain't no magician. He can't save everybody.
Well, he might be a magician.
To be fair,
I mean,
he saved lots of people.
I would prefer Lamar be back there and try, but there's too many other issues for us to not be realistic about what's going to happen this season. Unless they make some blockbuster trade, they're not going to get a pass rusher. This is who they are on defense. Even if you did bring it, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do think that a defensive coordinator could potentially change some things, but these guys ain't getting no push. Way was out there. He wasn't doing nothing.
Well, yeah, that's
these are starters.
Yeah, that's a bigger conversation. Like, and I'll tell you,
he's just a guy. I'm bringing up as
but
an
it's not because it's not just Owe. Owe's out there. Mike Green's out there. Kyle Van Noy was out there today. He got one because they forgot
he even played today, Glenn.
Right,
forgot he even played.
Well, he got a sack, but it was because they forgot
a sack. I forgot. I'll be honest. When he said that, when you just said that Mike Green, I was like, I'd forgotten all about him.
But Tyus, I think if we were looking for something that like we could judge beyond just who wasn't out there, like that part to me remains the single most alarming part about all of this, which is they had all their guys in the edge rush department today, and they still generated zero pass rush.
And there was a few times where they could have got back there, but I can also, while watching the game, you can kind of see that CJ was kind of getting the ball out a little bit early. But that's just based off of their operation within the offense, knowing that if we can get them in misdirection, knowing that they don't have Roquan out there, and really just going based off of last week and how the linebackers played, and when Pat Mahomes was picking them apart by play action and different types of stuff. I mean, why not go back to that? You're gonna protect your quarterback, knowing that they probably gonna come out here and put on pressure to him to get the ball out. But then too, if you get them in misdirection, get the linebackers going all over the place, you got dudes sitting wide open for easy passes that's going for 14, 15, 20 yards. And I mean, I felt like watching the game, that was pretty much their game plan, is to get them moving and getting the ball out easy for CJ Stroud. And I mean, that was my observation after the game. Now, I can also say there was times where he was holding the ball back there. We got a little pressure the 1 or 2 times, but he was holding the ball back there the times that he did, and that's a struggle. That's an issue.
And that's not new, right? Like
that's not new.
That's not unique. No. That to me is the biggest reason why, and you guys know I'm never going to be somebody who's going to scream about firing someone, but this is as close as I am. Like, I can't give Zach Orr
to get fired.
Yeah, I can't give Zach Orr. No,
I'm asking. Who we talking about?
Right now, I'm saying it's going to have to be Zach Orr.
Okay.
Like, that's what you and this is, we can have the macro micro, we can do this eternally, and we'll get to John Harbaugh in a bit, and we can have that conversation, but we're still going to be wasting our breath on it. You're not firing your head coach, and it just doesn't work that way. But that doesn't mean it isn't his fault. I'm not telling you that he's it's just a different conversation. The Zach Orr thing is the thing that you can do, and I feel bad. I like Zach Orr. Zach Orr is kind of one of us, right? Like, it kills me, but I can't give a pass to this. Like, this is untenable. You cannot win generating this little pressure in the NFL. It can't be done. And Tyus, this is as much as I'm angry as I'm going to get about something. Like, if you want to say, hey, we're not going to embarrass Zach Orr, he's our guy, we'll keep him as co-defense, whatever you want to do. Like, this can't just be okay to me. This cannot be acceptable.
If we're just keeping it real, simple as that. I mean, it's not okay. And for any coach, regardless if it's my homie or any other coach in the NFL, to give up 44 points, 41 points to the Texans, who haven't had an identity, who's
one of
been
the worst
struggling
offenses in football.
Exactly. To come out here and go at home, I mean, it has to be talked about. Simple as that.
Go.
And then within that, and I think as a defensive coordinator, when you have those many guys out, you got to make the game plan as simple as possible for those guys, especially when you got rookies and guys who haven't hit the field yet. You got to make it easier for them, knowing that, hey, if they're going through different types of motions with their receivers, or if you got this guy, but if this tight end motions to the other side, we got to make it simple, because we can't have you going in for play action, knowing that your guy's on the other side, the tight end wide open, getting 30 yards. Like, that doesn't help him as a player. And that's only going to deter him, knowing that Roquan is going to be out for the next game or so. That's going to mess up his confidence. And that's the last thing that you want to do for your player that you are depending on to help you win games and also to keep your job. So something has to be talked about, something has to be mentioned in that meeting room, in that conference room, from the upstairs, from the players. Something has to be said by somebody about making this game simple and easy for the players to go out there and just play football.
I appreciate that. I do. I think that's what we're all feeling. I mean, I think you say it more eloquently than I do, but like,
Yeah.
I think that's the feeling that's going on. Project Game Day postgame show is brought to you by the Costas Inn. 2 locations now for the Costas Inn. The original on North Point Boulevard, and now the brand new location at the Grandstand in Timonium. Everything you love about the original Costas Inn, just no steamed crabs there. You still got to go out to North Point Boulevard for steamed crabs, but everything else, including the jalapeno poppers with the crab meat inside that are delicious. They've got one of the best cream of crab soups in the area. The Costas Inn, brand new one now open in Timonium. Look, you guys can give your spiel, say whatever you want to say about it. I understand the feeling. I understand why the arrows are out for John Harbaugh. And as I've said a million times, at some point, that's going to play itself out. They're not firing their head coach in week. And I'll give you the biggest reason why they're not. This was just sent to me. Even if the Ravens fall to 1-5, the Steelers still haven't played the Chargers, the Bills, the Lions, the Colts, and obviously either of these 2 games against the Ravens. The Ravens, we all are going to feel like are done because the defense doesn't show any signs of getting any better. And if the defense is going to be this, it doesn't matter if Lamar comes back. It just doesn't. You're not winning anything of significance with a defense playing like this. But they're not going to abandon ship and just say, here's your red meat, because the practicality is their season wouldn't even be over at 1-5, even if we all know they're not winning the Super Bowl.
I agree with that.
They just can't operate that way. They can't operate as a franchise as saying, well, it's probably not going to happen, so let's just cut bait.
I agree. And look, when you have Lamar Jackson as your quarterback, you can't do that, right? Like, Lamar's going to win you some games because he's just that generational of a talent. And so you do have to let it play out. I know that everybody is mad at Harbaugh. I get it. I understand we are emotional about the Ravens. But the reality, like you said, Glenn, is that it's just, number one, they have too much respect for Harbaugh to do that to him. Like, even if let's say they fired him tomorrow, they're going to let him coach out the season. That's what's going to happen. But also, too, they're going to allow Lamar to come back and see if Lamar can help salvage whatever is left of this football season. And then if they don't, then that's a conversation that they'll have moving forward. But you're right in the sense of, like, literally, it's when they go to the bye week, they've only played 6 games with 11 games remaining. That's the reality of it. And yes, the schedule does get a little bit less hard from when they, started off the way that they did this season. So it's not all lost. They might not make it to the playoffs, but when you have Lamar, you're going to put all your chips on the table and say, we've been here before. The Ravens have not. They put Lamar in when he first came in, and he lost 1 game down the stretch. So you have to see how this works out. And then if it's just that bad where it can't be salvaged, then you got to do what you got to do. And that's
to the point. You might get to week 10, and if you're sitting there at week 10 at 2-8, then that just might be it, Rita. Like, I mean, you might get to that point, but they're not going to do that now just because we're bloodthirsty. And when I say that, people think I'm being defensive. I'm not being remotely defensive of John Harbaugh. He owns this as much as everyone else owns this, if not more than everyone else owns this. This is, to me, a sheer pragmatism thing in the NFL. That's all it is. they're not firing their head coach in week 5. They're not doing that because that's what you do when it's untenable, when you've given up. Now, to me, as I pointed out, the defense is untenable. Like, they can't move forward. For what it's worth, John Harbaugh was asked in his post-game press conference, and he says he does not intend to make a change of the defensive coaching staff.
He wanna ride the wave. So this is on him just as much as it is on anybody else.
Mhm.
And this is why people have a problem with Harbaugh. This is exactly why. I think that if there was some accountability here, then people would be not calling so much for his head, for lack of a better term, for his job. Well, when you do stuff like this and keep saying, I'm going to ride with my man, when we're 5 weeks in and it's gotten from bad to worse. Yes, we know that there's injuries, but even when you did have those guys, they didn't play well. This is the problem. And this is why people are going to always ask for Harbaugh to be gone, period.
So just two things real quick, because, Ken, then I'll let you say it. One thing is, he said, the quote is, I do not think that's the answer, unquote. I will say, I don't think there's ever been a coordinator fired in a post-game press conference. Like, I'm pretty sure.
This is true. You're right.
I'm pretty sure, like, a lot of guys have said that, and then maybe the next day something changed. Not that I'm saying that I expect that to be the case, but I don't think that's ever happened where the game's ended and a coach has walked in and said, yeah, that's it, I'm firing the defensive coordinator today. I just don't think it normally goes that way. So I think this is normally the way things play out. I do still think it's more relevant to talk about the bye week. I've always – KZ, say what you want to say, because I want to run something by Tyus.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, even if that's the solution, you're not doing it this week. You're going to do it after next week because you have the bye week. As far as, look, well documented, I'm not a Harbaugh fan. I don't think the team will ever win a Super Bowl under Harbaugh again. So if this town wants to win one, they need to go find a new head coach. But firing him in the middle of the season won't work. It never works. It's only worked one time.
Not if you think you're gonna win a Super Bowl, it won't.
It's only worked one time in the history of sports, and that's the University of Michigan. And that's it. Basketball, where you got rid of your coach and they led you to grand things. And for everybody that wants, Harbaugh to be more upset that he is in a press conference, he's not going to do that in a press conference. And your point before was well taken. Everybody likes Zach Orr. The players like Zach Orr. The fans like Zach Orr. We love Zach Orr. We were devastated when his career ended because we saw a guy that we loved, that was one of us, that we thought had a bright future. And I don't think there was a human being when Mike McDonald left. No, we didn't want Mike McDonald to leave, but he went to get a head coaching job that didn't cheer when they say, you know what? Okay, Zach Orr will get the job done.
Yep, 100%.
He'll get it done.
Yep.
Now, you need to make a change. For whatever reason, it's not working. The players, as much as the coach, need to own that. Sadly, in this town, we've been through this already with the other ball club, and none of this was Hyde's fault, but Hyde needed to go. I think some of this is on the only thing I'll say is that some of this is some stubbornness from maybe Zach Orr and the other defensive coaches to, I don't know, that some changes have been made. Maybe they're trying to play the same way when they have one arm tied behind their back. I don't know.
Ego and pride will get you nowhere. I'm serious.
That's the thing. But if they give, as we expect, and we're joking about it, but if we expect them to give up 40 plus points again next week, you can't come back after the bye with him. And I hate to say that.
So we might as well go ahead and pencil that in, friend.
Yeah.
It's football.
They only gonna give up 28.
I'm watching the Saints and the Carolina Panthers win a game in the same week this week. Anything can happen.
Yeah, we thought that coming into this game. Yeah,
the Saints played the Giants.
I'm watching Denver when we came on this air. When we came on air before this, we're talking about we put too much confidence into Denver. Denver's down 17-3. They're now 21-17. I don't.
Probably still
I mean,
find a way to screw it up.
Anything can happen in the NFL, but
Yeah.
the way this is looking, and I don't know if any of these guys get back, a 40 burger is probably a good bet.
Tyus, why is it? Can you dumb that down for people? Why might it be more likely that if they're going to make a change, they do it bye week instead of now, right? Like, is that as significant as we think to have that additional week if you're going to make a coordinator change?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's an entire week to literally do an entire evaluation of your team from the top down. And I know just based off of going through bye weeks, you pretty much go through an entire breakdown of what you've done, however many games that you played to what you have going next week, and you're trying to create new goals, whether you are 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, 1-6, whatever the case may be, you're going into that second half on a path of trying to get to the playoffs and trying to win a division. Now, within that, do you have to make changes, whether that's through your players and hey, we need to try these guys out. We need to bring up these guys. We need to make some trades. We need to figure out a coaching situation. Whatever the case may be, that's the time to do it because you don't want to go into that second half of the year doing the same stuff that you did before the bye week. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like imagine
No.
putting in all this work, you take a break, and then you still don't get nothing productive done. Like that's a setup for failure. So I can see it definitely being a case where maybe there's possible changes within that defensive side, whether it's the coaches, whether it's the players, especially with guys coming back from that. I'm sure there's going to be a few guys that's back healthy and trying to turn the season around however that it may. But I know for sure that there will be some type of changes going on during bye week.
We are doing the Project Game Day postgame show. We're having a lot of fun. Everybody's having a great time. So much so that Rita's phone gave up. She's
Oh
going
my
to try to
God.
get back with us here in a second. Project Game Day postgame show is brought to you by Gameday Men's Health. You're a man of a certain age. You just don't feel the way that you felt when you were in your 20s, whether that's because you're dealing with stubborn belly fat, whether perhaps it's performance issues in the bedroom, or you're just feeling sluggish and run down. You might be low T. Sign up for a complimentary testosterone test right now. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Convenient locations in Owings Mills, Columbia, and Frederick for Game Day Men's Health. Trying to go through some of these comments, and look, I get it. Some of you are just bloodthirsty, and I'm telling you, you might very well get your way. That might be the case. Dedrick, I see a team that has given up. Something is going on inside that locker room. A lot of people have talked about that, and we've thrown around the word quit. Tyus, my opinion, and I'll go back to what KZ said so eloquently, I don't know anything. I know nothing. But my opinion is when you get your ass kicked, your body language ain't going to be great. And so I do think that there's like a chicken and the egg thing here. Is the body language bad because you're getting your ass kicked, or are you getting your ass kicked because the body language is bad and because there's something going on? My gut tells me what we're seeing and what we're reacting to really has more to do with just the simple, dude, we're getting our asses kicked right now. What are we going to do? Look like everything's cool and everybody's having a good time?
Yeah, I definitely say that's it. I mean, they had what one of the toughest schedules, before the bye. And you understand the expectation as a Raven when you, especially going against Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, like you want to go out there and win those games because eventually, once you get to the end of the season, those wins will matter as far as being able to play at home, whether that's getting the first round bye, whatever the case may be. And to let those go in the fashion that they did is the toughest part. And when that's the case, you are figuring out like why are we playing like this? Why
Mm-hmm.
do we suck so bad to the point where we look like we're not the Ravens anymore? Like people can't take us seriously. And I know being with the Ravens, we take pride in how we play. We take pride in knowing that anywhere that we go, whether it's at home or away, that they're going to fear us. And you don't see that now.
Not at
So
all.
the question, of course, is going to be why do we suck so bad? It's not necessarily the vice versa.
John asks, and John, I hope you heard me last week when I said I apologize. I think I said John was dumb, and I didn't mean that. I thought your comment was dumb, and I took it out on you, and I shouldn't have done that. And we all get caught up in those moments. We can say that some things we say are dumb. I say lots of dumb things, but
He
I
didn't mean
shouldn't.
it that way. He didn't mean
Yeah,
it that
I
way.
did not, and I apologize. But with all the injuries having piled up, does that perhaps save Harbs from even getting to the hot seat this year? I don't think so, personally. I don't. Um, Now, like again, you could give context to that, right? Like if the Ravens fall to 1-5 and then they put together a dramatic turnaround and lose in the playoffs, your context might be, hey, that dramatic turnaround becomes why the Ravens aren't inclined to fire the coach. But if this bottoms out, I don't think it matters. I really don't. I think if this bottoms out, they're gonna be making a coaching change. Or even if they don't, I'll tell you they should be making a coaching change. If this bottoms out, I don't know that the injuries are going to be what matters. But part of that is we think at least some of these guys are going to be back in the coming weeks. And so you'll have a better, a more complete look at how to judge the team. If this continues defensively with Roquan and Marlon and Kyle Hamilton on the field in 3 weeks, then nobody's going to be saved. Like, this is untenable. But that's my opinion about it. I don't know how they're going to operate. I know everybody seems to think that they'll just never fire anybody, and that's the way it's going to go. Just said Brian. Oh, it's Radcliffe. This is my high school math teacher, Mr. Radcliffe. They have to get healthy first. Circle the wagons. The fix will be difficult without healthy players. Let's see what the roster looks like the week after the bye. And to me, again, that's why we're going to overreact about the John Harbaugh conversation. They're not going to give up on the season. They're not. And they shouldn't give up on the season. As much as we're, I've already seen it from a few people, hey, who are they going to draft in the top 10 next year? I know that we have what's in front of us. And if it gets from 1-4 to 1-5, which almost feels likely at this point, we're going to assume you're doomed. You can't come back from that. But the practicality in front of them isn't going to be that, in part because nobody is going to run away. Nobody is that scary good. If they were in the AFC East with the Bills, then yeah, they're not catching the Bills. But it's the Steelers, and it's, with all due respect, that's not man, at some point maybe the Steelers will look better than they do. They do not strike fear in you in any way. In any way. I haven't even looked at the odds. It's totally possible the Ravens are still only barely not favored to win the AFC North at this point. Am I crazy?
You're not crazy because
No,
you look at the schedule and what they have coming after the bye, and you're looking at all those games and you're like, well, they're probably going to be favored in all of them if they're all healthy. The problem goes back to, well, even if they are all healthy, they're still giving up 40 points a game, and that's the biggest problem. Now we hope that not hope, but we assume that after the bye, some changes are going to be made in personnel, either people leaving or people coming in.
Right.
Is always a possibility. But you look at the schedule, and there's nobody. We joke, okay, but we have no good feelings about the Rams game next week. Even if everybody came back, I still don't feel good about the Rams because we know Lamar's not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But who they have after the bye?
The Bears.
Right. Yeah, the Bears. The Dolphins are in there.
The Bears. The Dolphins just lost again. They may
Yep.
have a new coach when we see them.
Yep.
They lost.
Yeah, they lost. Yep. It's been a crazy day, Tyus.
I remember
And the
Broncos
Broncos came back in the fourth quarter and beat the Eagles 21-17.
Incredibly wild.
Over 100 yards for our boy Sutton. But anyway, conversation before we came on the air. But anyway, you look at all these games and then you start getting into the division with 2 against Cincinnati and 2 against Pittsburgh and 1 against Cleveland. And you're like, yeah, I mean, if Lamar's healthy, they could win 9 games still this year and make the playoffs at 10-7, which is usually where the last wild card somewhere around there comes in, even in some years 9-8. So it's not all lost, but it just doesn't feel good. And it doesn't feel like even a change in coach is going to make all the difference in the world. But I point everybody back to last year. We thought the defense was awful, and then they were the number one defense in the league for the last 10 weeks.
It's interesting you brought up the personnel thing. One of the things that's most forgotten is they did make 2 dramatic personnel changes last year. And when it came to Marcus Williams and Eddie Jackson, who were veterans that had earned respect, and they just said, we're not going to let you sink us. Like, that's the way this is going to go. And I don't even have a good example of who that would be for this team, right? Like, I couldn't tell you, maybe to the point it's, we realize we have to trade for an edge rusher because these guys, I don't know what that answer is for who that would be for this year's team, in part because they're all hurt right now. So how do you judge them? But yeah,
How about Max Crosby? They just lost 40-6.
I would be in favor, but they just keep saying over and over and over and over and over again that they won't trade Max
Who's
Crosby.
their backup quarterback? Because Gino has stunk for a couple weeks.
Is it
Mariota?
No, Mariota's in DC.
Is
it Aiden
it
O'Connell? I think it's Aiden O'Connell.
It may be O'Connell.
Yeah, I think
maybe
that's
not.
who their backup quarterback is. Let me give this one I'll give this one to Tyus. This is an interesting one. Why do you think it is the Ravens have not been able to develop a true game-changing edge rusher? This is a good question from Chris. We go back to Terrell Suggs, and everything since then have been guys that have flashed for moments but haven't really become true wreckers or game changers.
I think a lot of it is just based off of personnel. I know within my position in playing there, I know I have to do both rushing and dropping. So you're not really getting too much of an emphasis when it comes to specifically rushing. Now they brought in coaches now that specializes in pass rushing and things like that.
Chuck
but
Smith in particular.
Yeah, exactly. But I think within all that, you got to set up your philosophy and what you want your rush plan to be. Like I've always looked at like TJ Watt when I came with him, and I would see the Steelers, especially on the sideline. I'm like, what makes them so good? Like what makes TJ Watt get to the quarterback so easily, and what makes them just continue to get pressure and make being a quarterback a hell when you play against the Steelers. And it's based off of their philosophy. When you see TJ Watt, when you see Hayward out there, like Hayward is a baller. And nothing makes being a pass rusher no easier than having a guy that can put pressure up the middle. And that's what you had with Matabike. That's what you had with a lot of those guys that we had with Michael Pierce, where when you seen last year, guys was getting around the edge easy, where we was dominating the rush game. And a lot of that is just based off of the game plan and what the guys came up with. And it just all matched well. Now, within that, you also got to have players who can cover that can make the quarterback hold the ball. Because if he's getting his reads off easily and guys is not where they're supposed to be, then it's all a timing game for quarterbacks. That's what's going to happen next week for Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford has always been on an operation on the time when it comes to receivers going in their routes and things like that. And when you get him off of his track, which in times when I did play Matthew Stafford, it was whether jamming him up at the front line, whether it was mixing up the coverages on the back end and make him hold the ball for an extra second. And then that makes your job as a rusher to go out there and win and give you that extra time to go out there and make a play and get a sack. So, I mean, it all works from both levels, from the secondary.
I completely, and to be fair, I think when the Ravens edge rush has been at their best, and you were on some of these teams, has been when like the secondary has been really good.
Yeah.
But I do still think it's a fair criticism. And you play the outside linebacker position, but you weren't just a natural edge rusher here. I think it's a fair criticism that one of the things I think has been driving everybody nuts, and it's only a handful of snaps, but like, why is Mike Green in coverage ever? Like, why are we seeing that?
Well, I mean, we don't have any other guys that can drop. He seems like the most athletic one that can do it. So,
but isn't that alarming?
I mean, it is because you would hope that you wouldn't be one-dimensional. So, like as an offense, oh, yeah, he's always going to be the one that drops. So we can slide our we can slide our line to the other side. So now
Yeah.
it messes things up. But I know for sure when I was playing, we had guys who could do both. So now it just made things even more difficult to
And to
where
be
we can
fair,
get.
like that, when we think of
Yeah,
Terrell Suggs, like Terrell Suggs showed up in the league as a guy that only rushed the passer, and by the time he was 8 years in, he was one of the best coverage linebackers in football, right? And like we're
yeah.
talking
But
about a guy.
that's the thing. Like I felt like, and again, we're going back a long time ago, but Mike Green came in as one of the premier pass rushers, if not the premier pass rusher available in this year's draft. And because of some off the field issues, he fell. Why do we seem to put? I think we put a lot on our rookie pass rushers to set the edge, to go in coverage, and I know that's needed, Tyus. But sometimes, like I never worry about whether T.J. Watt is in coverage. I never worry about whether Nick Bosa is in coverage. I never, some of these guys that are prolific and just like every down,
Defense.
9 out of 10 downs, their responsibility is just go get the quarterback.
Yeah.
Like Mike Green is a rookie. Like, why do they not just say, we're going to develop your game? But for right now, every step, I just want you to go create havoc in the backfield and try to get to the quarterback. I just feel like sometimes as a rookie, there is so much to learn that it's almost over. There's too much information and you lose what made you Superman.
Well, I mean, that goes back to the team that you with. I mean, like I said, you go with TJ Watt and how he fits so well because that's what they want him to do. If what he's been able to show on film and they're like, hey, I think that you're capable of being able to do more than just rush the passer. You can drop as well. Then we're gonna put you at that, especially if we drafted you in the third round. You need to be able to do a lot of things. I mean, I can go back to when I was playing. That was the talk with me. It's like, hey, we've seen through your film in college that you can drop. We've seen in your film as well that you can rush the passer, and I feel like you can fit in this system, which I propelled and did very well for myself. And it's just based off of the fit. I've known plenty of guys who were first rounders that was in my class who only lasted 3 years because the fit wasn't what it was.
Mhm.
So it's all about a fit when you talk to these players. Is how well are they how well do you feel like they can help your defense as far as what you want to be done as a defense. And if that's the case for him, then I mean, you can't really say anything besides, shoot, it is what it is. This is the team that you own. Now, if he was anywhere else, maybe they might have him out here rushing a little bit more in Washington or L.A. or San Francisco somewhere with Bosa and all of those guys. Maybe he might propel a little bit better over there, but that's just not the that's
But
just not what the defense
it
is.
sounds like what we're saying is does that need to change? Like,
Yeah.
do you?
Who knows? I
Yeah.
have no idea. I
And
have no idea.
if it's not working, then I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hey, I don't
We're
know either.
at
I
times
don't
we're ready
know
to
either.
rip everything down. We're ready to tear it all down. I
Hey,
got
I'm
my
just a
first.
player.
I tell you what, I got my first trade Lamar comment
Oh,
today. Not blaming Lamar, like this has all gone to hell. Just start all over again.
Oh my
hey
God.
I
man, like
got,
Lil Wayne
I
I
said,
got.
get
players play, coaches coach, and cheerleaders cheer. I'm just a player, and I'm gonna go and just be a player. And whatever I got to deal with, I got to do it because that's my job. So,
Man, everybody's crashing out right now.
yeah.
Understandably so. Understandable. It ain't great. Hey, Project Game Day is also brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. Nowhere better to watch all of the every game day, all the big fights. Why pay money for pay-per-views? You want to watch what is that the whatever you want to call that, the pillow fight that Tank Davis is going to have with Jake Paul in a couple weeks? The best place to do it is inside Live Casino and Hotel at Sports and Social. This is a awkward way to wind things down. We're gonna be here again next week. We're gonna do it again. As always, we're gonna hope that Tyus is too busy to be with us. But we're just gonna keep doing it. That's the way it's gonna go. And at some point, either it's gonna change or it ain't, and then there might be some serious changes at that point. I say we're gonna be here. There was only like 3 of us this time around, Lord.
Yeah, where what?
By next
Where was the
week, it might
crew?
be
I
half
have no
of us,
idea.
half of us. Yo, when you were talking about crashing out, like there's some serious crashing out going on around here. Oh man, it is not great.
And
Um,
don't even try to lose against the Bears at the bye week.
oh
Our,
well, then
Oh,
yeah,
our
oh,
head,
that is
yeah.
it's all over if that
Yeah,
happens.
yeah,
yeah.
that happens. Forget it. Hey, don't forget if you or a loved one has a gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER or helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. KZ, appreciate you, buddy. Tyus, love you. We will see you guys next week. This has been PressBox's Project Game Day.